Today we shall discuss about a very relevant topic, that is soil erosion and the conservation of soil. So what is soil erosion? Soil erosion is the detachment, transport and deposition of soil particles on land surface, also termed as loss of soil, and it is measured in mass per unit area. That is the mass of the lost soil divided by the surface area from which the soil is lost. What are the causes of soil erosion? Soil erosion can be caused by natural processes and human activities. Natural processes include the activities of water and wind. And the human activities include overcropping, overgrazing, and deforestation. Now let's see the types of soil erosion. The first one is sheet erosion. Sheet erosion is a removal of the thin layer of topsoil by raindrop splash or water runoff. It is nothing but the removal of a thin sheet of soil. The second type is gully erosion. In gully erosion, the surface runoff is very high, resulting in the formation of gullies. Gullies, as you can see in this picture, gullies resemble large ditches or small valleys, are meters to 10 meters in depth and width. That is less than 10 meters in depth and width. The third type is rill erosion. If sheet erosion happens due to the runoff of water which is flowing heavily, this one is due to the slow movement of water. It cuts well defined finger shaped groove like structures. It appears as thin channels or streams. It is known as rill erosion. You can see the effects of rill erosion in these pictures. So the next type is stream bank erosion. The rivers during floods splash their water against the banks. In this way, the water cuts through them, particularly at curves. Water strikes with great speed and the bank caves in alongside. This type of erosion is also known as riparian erosion. So this type is basically the type of erosion which occurs on the river banks due to the movement of the river. Another type of erosion is wind erosion. Soil erosion by wind is common in dry regions. Two characteristics of such region are the soil is mainly sandy, the vegetation is very poor or even absent, like deserts. So another type is landslides or slip erosion. The hydraulic pressure which is caused by heavy rains increase the weight of the rocks at cliffs. As a result, they come under the gravitational force and finally slip or fall off. Obviously, we are seeing the impacts of landslides almost every year in Kerala. And this happens mostly in hilly areas. What are the effects of soil erosion? Reduced crop production. Eroded soil is deposited on riverbeds, raising the levels and leading to the devastating floods. Plant productivity decline and the desertification, etc. These are some of the major effects of soil erosion. Now, the most important part is the methods of soil conservation. Various methods of soil conservation may be broadly categorized into two groups: agronomic practices and engineering practices. So, the agronomic practices are connected with the agriculture. This method involves protection of the topsoil by special methods and schemes of crop cultivation. So, one of these methods are crop rotation. It is a method of growing a series of dissimilar crops in an area sequentially. Here, different crops are grown in the same area by rotation, that is, one after another. So, we have to choose the crops wisely so that the soil structure and fertility is improved. The next method coming under the category of agronomic processes is strip cropping. In this method, the cultivated crops and the cover crops are sown in alternate strips during the same period in the same field. Like one type of crop in the first strip and another type of crop in the second strip, and again in the third strip, we'll be growing the first type of crop, and that is how the cropping is done. The second major category is called engineering practices. So let's see what are the methods come under this category. So the first one is excavation of ditches. These are artificially created channels to divert the excess of water. We know that the heavy runoff is a major reason for soil erosion. So here we provide channels to divert the water flow. Two types of ditches are commonly made. The first one is diversion ditches, diverting the runoff away from the field. The second type is interception ditches, made at regular and suitable intervals across the cultivated field. These ditches do not allow formation of thick sheets of water. The second method that comes under the engineering practices category is terraces construction. Terraces are large steps cut into hillside. So basically, cutting large steps on the hillside is known as terrace construction. This reduces slope length and steepness to control the energy of running water and its ability to carry soil away. So these steps are basically to disturb the flow of water. The third method that comes under the category of engineering practices is check dams. Small, sometimes temporary check dams are constructed out of various materials like stones, timber, steel, etc. to control erosion by reducing the velocity of water flow. Basically, the construction of a temporary or permanent dams. So, the last method considered under the category engineering practices is windbreaks or shelter belts. Barriers formed by trees and plants with many leaves to control the wind velocity. So, obviously, plants and trees are the best solution for soil conservation. So, this is all about the soil erosion and the conservation techniques.